On today's episode of That Was Us, we are diving into Season 3, Episode 8, 6 Thanksgivings. Kate and Toby try to make a normal Thanksgiving dinner while Randall makes an appearance for his campaign, but it leads to a magical, unconventional meal for the Pearson family. Meanwhile, Miguel stands up for his relationship with Rebecca, and we finally discover the story behind the necklace that Jack wore.
What up, everybody?
Hello.
You've heard of 4 Christmases. Well, we got 6
We got 6 Thanksgivings up in this mother. Listen, and in addendum to 6 Thanksgivings, we got our boy in the house, Jon Huertas, co-hosting for the episode.
Oh, lucky
Thank
us.
you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming back.
Of course.
Always.
This is always a good time.
What's going on with you these days? Just give us a little rundown of what's popping. I know you're building a
Setting.
complex.
Yeah.
I've got a new prefix.
What's the new one?
Farmer.
Look at this.
Nice.
dude.
Of course,
Farmer John.
Of course.
Nice.
Farmer John hit me up. We were FaceTiming each other real quick, and he hit me with this anecdote because he's got animals on there, and he's got like is it a hen? Is it a rooster? What was it?
Turkey.
It was a turkey.
Wild
You have,
turkey.
like,
He's got
wild turkey?
Wild turkey, yeah, like many of them.
He's got wild turkey.
25, 30 of them.
He said he got one wild turkey that tried to run his ass down.
Oh, yeah,
Really?
they're mean.
Yeah, try to kill me.
They are
Wait,
mean.
give
they're,
us-
They're big, too. They're bigger than you think.
Because from a distance, you can tell they're big birds, but
Yeah.
they're just a bird.
Yeah.
Up close, it's like a dinosaur.
Yeah, yeah. And they're mean.
Trying to jump up at you with his hind feet, so
Yeah.
it comes at you sideways.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
Yeah, like comes at you like
Yeah.
And he said,
like from the
he
hood.
came
like,
out the
what's up?
door, and he said, like, I don't know how fast I ran, but I it was a 5-something 40. He's like, it may
Yeah.
not have been like in the 4s, because John's got some wheels
Yeah.
on him. He's like, but
Used
like
to be 4s, but
used to be in the 4s, but this may have been like a good 5-1 or
Let's
something.
just say a
five
wild turkey can probably get up into the low 20s
Yeah,
miles,
yeah,
miles
yeah.
per hour.
yeah,
Really?
I
Are they
ran,
that
but I did
fast?
outrun
Fast.
this month.
Fast. Yeah, that's right.
Wait,
That's
what do you
right.
do about the dogs?
They weren't there with me at that
Oh,
point. They were still here in LA. But
thank
yeah,
goodness.
that
Yeah.
turkey tried to get twice because I kept it at bay. I had a jacket like a matador. And
Yeah.
I was like,
can't.
I was
Yeah.
like, get off, and I was
Yeah.
cussing out the turkey. Like
Yeah.
it could understand what I was
Yeah,
saying. And I'm like, get off me,
Would have been a perfect time to call somebody a jive turkey.
damn it.
It would have been the perfect opportunity.
Next time.
You ain't nothing but a job.
Yeah,
Can you
They'll
imagine
probably
being
come at me
across a field?
yeah.
What's John doing?
John
Cursing out a turkey.
What would have happened? Here's my and then we'll get to the episode, of course.
I bled out.
People who are interested in This Is Us. But like there's the fight or flight, right? And so you choose the flight.
Well,
but like
turkeys-
if you
turkeys
get
don't
caught,
fly,
were you
so-
close to like
Yeah, like,
having
how
to
did this
turn
happen?
and squabble up?
Yeah, I mean, it was literally, if I didn't have the door behind me to get back into my spot,
Yeah.
then I would have had to fight the turkey.
Yeah. This
He
is
was
where the
that
word.
close to your house?
This is where the word
yeah.
squabble
I came
comes
out the
from. It's
door.
just a man fighting a turkey.
Squabble, squabble,
This
squabble,
is
squabble, squabble.
This is- Kendrick had the
Gobble,
same
gobble,
thing happen.
squabble.
Squabble. So this turkey, when I came out the door, the turkey, it wasn't there. I mean, I came out of the door and I was like, oh, forgot my jacket. So I went back in, grabbed my jacket, came out kind of backwards, locked the door, turned around. The turkey was like, oh, blah, 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 and like all up on me.
All cross-eyed.
And like right there,
Yeah.
like I'm talking 12 inches away.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, ah. And I put the jacket in front, like, get
Yeah.
off me.
Yeah.
And it was like, get away from me, turkey.
And he
Should've
wasn't
said
scared.
jive turkey, but I was like, get away from me, turkey. And it chased me back into
Yeah.
the house.
Yeah.
And then I waited. I was like, and,
Yeah.
and then I looked out the door and there was no turkey.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, he
Yeah.
obviously was on one.
Yeah.
He went to go eat some
Yeah.
grubs or whatever they eat. And I started to walk to my vehicle.
Yeah.
As I turned the corner, the turkey was behind me,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
wings out. And then I freaking had to sprint through
Yeah.
my barn. They have a
Yeah.
barn.
Yeah.
I cannot.
You gotta kill that turkey.
I picked up a broom, like a push broom, inside my barn and had to spin on him. I was like, get up, man.
We need that rock salt shotgun.
That's what I should
Just by the door. Just by the door.
God.
You're a farmer now, John.
Yeah.
You have to keep a shotgun by the door.
And now every day there's because it's the male turkeys that do it.
Yes.
And suddenly when male turkeys are getting like territorial,
Yeah.
they get their heads turn blue and their wattle turns red.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Ugh," and they start gobbling at you.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and they yell at you. And I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, what's up, turkey?
Yeah.
I'm just chilling. Like, you eating some food? You eating
Yeah.
some insects?
Having a
And the turkey
conversation.
gets mad, swells up. That's when
Yeah.
the picture of a turkey when they
Yeah.
got all the feathers up.
Yeah.
That's
You
that's
know.
not
That's
how
a
they
pissed
usually
off
look.
turkey.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
The
not-
classic turkey, that's an angry turkey.
That's an angry
Yes.
turkey.
Because
The
swell up.
Thanksgiving
They start-
because
turkey.
they're about to get
I learned
killed.
Yeah.
they
Sure.
drag their wings on the ground and like
Uh-huh.
slap them, so they make these little
Yeah.
sounds like
So when it's
Scary.
coming at you, is it coming at you on the ground, or is it actually trying to jump up?
it's trying to jump up to you. It's coming with his head a little bit, and his beak, and swinging his head at you, and it's turning sideways and trying to jump up with his hind feet and just
Claw you.
Okay.
whatever.
So that was the most
Disembowel
ethical.
you, yeah.
That was the most ethical treatment that you could have done in terms of just keeping it at bay. And I don't want to talk about any unethical treatments because I don't want to get in trouble with
We
anybody.
can, though, because here we are. 6 Thanksgivings, 6
Here we are.
turkeys, 6 dead
Well, this is
turkeys
true.
on 6 tables.
What a
A
segue.
turkey would
What a
have made it.
segue.
A turkey attack.
I feel-
Let's talk about
Our
it.
first Thanksgiving on this episode is a flashback
Yeah.
to the Pearsons,
Yes.
who are having our man Miguel.
He's coming to the crib for the first time since his divorce.
Yeah.
And Mandy, Rebecca, is talking in the beginning.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is
Similar people.
Thank you.
Similar people.
It's not
I see.
Rebecca.
Man,
It's
Becca.
It's Rebecca. Talking about like, I'm best friends with his ex-wife. Why are we having him over to the house and not her? She's got the kids. She's gonna go see her family. Jack is like, he's by himself. Otherwise, he'd just be somewhere, right? So the family's having a good time. The Pearsons are lovey-dovey. The big three are all getting teased about Randall's college essay. And
Yeah.
like, dude, you got to pick the fireman
Yeah,
for like the
'cause-
most
Yeah, yeah.
important person
The
in
most
your life.
influential person in your life.
influential
Everybody's
person.
like, hello, fireman.
Yeah.
obviously. And
Dad's
he's
like, it's a layup. He's like, no, it's not. It's an unfair question, right? Too many people contribute to it.
I disagree with the premise.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ew.
The premise is flawed. The question is flawed.
premise.
All right, smarty pants.
But the premise for the question is flawed. It's more he goes deeper. It's like
Yeah.
the premise is unfair.
yours is. He's
Yeah.
So the first thing that caught me as there's a ring at the doorbell, Miguel comes in with antithetical energy to the good vibes that are permeating through the Pearson household. The first question I had was, cell phone? He's on the phone, folks. And I guess it's
8. It's 98.
Is it 98?
Yeah, because it's the
And
last
and it wasn't
Thanksgiving
an
before
iPhone.
Jack
it was
dies.
straight up like zing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
wait.
It was
It
the
is
brick.
98.
It was the
Yeah.
We're
brick
born
with
in
the first little flip.
1980.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're born in 1980.
Yeah.
We're 17, so it's 97, let's say.
Sorry,
Yeah.
97, the end of 97, because 98
And
in
don't
the
forget-
middle
First-
of
it was that
98
first
is when
flip
he
phone
passes away.
Yeah.
That didn't
Yeah.
even have the microphone in the flippy part. It was just
It just
uncovering
it was
the
a cap. That was a
microphone.
cap.
It was
People
a
had
cap.
phones.
For the,
Okay,
for
you're
the
right.
buttons. And Miguel was rich, so of course he
He was loaded.
Yeah.
He was getting his.
That was one of the things and that's a big
He was
story
moving.
point.
Yeah.
He,
that-
learned,
that
he
we-
learned to play golf so he could get rich.
This is one of the
Exactly.
story points that happens to the thing. Okay, so I wasn't sure what the time frame was. I didn't get my first cell phone, interestingly enough, until I graduated from grad school. So I got my first one in 01, right? It was the Sprint, like
Four
single
years later.
Yeah.
thing
5
that
years
you
later.
get. So it was, 4 years later. Yeah, there's
And
cell
you weren't
phones
even
around.
rich.
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I would go so far as to say I lived beneath the poverty line at that time in my life. I don't claim poor,
Right.
but
Beneath the poverty line.
Beneath the
Yeah.
poverty line.
You were happy
Yeah.
and rich and here.
I was happy.
My first cell phone, I couldn't afford it.
How old were you
I
when
had
you had
one,
your first
about
one?
the same time.
About an 01?
2001.
For you, when did you get your first one? Because you've been working.
About the same time. I was here in LA already.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had my first cell phone.
My
Maybe
parents
more-
did have
you
a
had
car
probably
phone.
99.
99.
99.
My
I
mom
had
had
a purple Nokia.
Yeah,
I got it for my
nice.
birthday.
Nobody
brick
had.
phone?
We probably bought it
The
from
brick.
me and her
The
probably
brick.
bought it from the same store.
Probably.
Ryan was a big BlackBerry person. Nobody ever went through a BlackBerry
Oh,
phase?
of course we did.
I
did
did.
have
Yeah, I had
a
a black.
My mom had
Okay.
a car phone.
Oh, my dad had a car phone.
Really?
Yes.
I've seen those.
In his Ford Explorer. It was
Literal
like
wired?
attached, like wired to like the
Yeah.
Hey, you can hang it up.
yeah. Yeah.
Was it rotary? It was like-
No,
No,
it was-
no,
it
no.
My
was-
friend
it
had
was
one.
like, beep,
My friend's
beep,
dad had a rotary one.
in his
In his
car.
rotary car?
a Mercedes convertible, and he had it like it was the whole center console.
perfect.
Was the phone like you'd open it as a
Perfect.
phone, and it had the
Did
rotary.
it ring like a rotary?
I never heard it ring. I mean, all I know is when I go in his garage, I would just open it and stare at it like this.
It's
is
pretty cool.
amazing.
Like the coolest thing you've ever seen.
One day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to explain it to Bear the other day because Bear said, "Why do they say hang up?" The phone.
Really?
That's such a
It's
good
a it's a
question.
great
That is a
question.
good question.
Because you
you-
used to hang it on a wall. That's
I mean, just
why,
like
buddy.
Wow.
this doesn't
True.
mean anything anymore.
No.
Like putting your hand to your face with the pinky out and the thumb up.
No.
Like nobody
Call
would
me.
understand
It's
that
this
now,
now.
reference.
It's this.
It's that. Yeah, it's like, pick up the phone.
Speakerphone. I'm on speakerphone. Unless
No, for me, I don't even put this to my ear anymore because I'm afraid of like what sort of like.
Yeah.
It's like I either put it on the speaker or I have the buds in.
Yeah.
And I do it that way. Like I actually don't like because sometimes if I like concentrate, I do feel a little something, and I'm like, it's not good to be close to my head.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that. I don't know if you guys have ever had that feeling.
Okay. No, I mean,
John is very dubious. For those not watching on YouTube, he's
This
extremely
dude.
dubious.
This dude.
Yeah, he looks as confused as the turkey.
Let us continue with the storyline because we got like 6 Thanksgivings.
Got this scene with Milo.
Well, before the scene with Milo, they're at the table. Where
Right.
everybody's at the table.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
You come in arguing. What his argument was like, yo, just let me see the kids. Let me just
talk
tell
to
them
them.
Thanksgiving for, happy Thanksgiving for a hot
Kind of
second
mean
right
for
now.
Shelley to not even let me say thanks.
It does
True.
it doesn't seem fair, right?
No.
The camaraderie, the good vibes continue at the table, and Miguel is just seeing like everything that is happening for this family that he is sort of on the outside of.
Well, and is not having his own experience.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, he
Does
wishes
not
that
echo
was
what
his
he
family.
has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Because you were inside it. I always like to hear people being inside the scene, just sort of talk through their experience of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Miguel was just, seeing what he could have had if his relationship didn't fall apart.
Yeah.
And it breaks his heart.
Yeah.
And I think he just can't be in this moment because he's gonna ruin what's going on if he suddenly starts blubbering in front of these people.
Sure.
So he just is like, excuse me, I gotta go poop. And he goes
Politely
to do that.
excuses
That's
himself.
what he says.
Yeah, and then
Do you
Jack,
guys have a shitter?
Jack's like, I know he ain't gotta go.
I'm not gonna make it through
Yeah.
that.
That's
I'm not
my
gonna
best
make it.
friend.
I'm not gonna
And
make
he's
it
not
through this
making his
episode.
poop
This
face.
is not cheeks clenched, just trying to
He
enjoy
doesn't. He
himself.
doesn't look. That's a different face. I will also be right back.
And he goes left at the end of the hallway too, just like I did. Instead of right where
Yeah.
The bathroom is.
Sally, you about to say the scene between Jack and me?
Yeah. He just gives you the pep talk.
he gives me a great pep talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
The
really does.
quintessential.
For my character at least, it definitely made him feel like I'm gonna make the most of
Right.
being here, and
Yeah.
and I'm so glad to have the Pearsons in my life,
Yeah.
which then later in the episode comes back around full circle.
Yes, it
but
does.
And the line that stuck out for me in that one too, like obviously he demonstrates what a driven individual you are.
Yeah.
Where you've come from and where you are now.
Sure.
He's like, look, you're rich. You got a cell phone. What more
exactly.
do you want?
And a country club
What more
membership.
could you want?
One more.
You won golf tournaments.
Yeah, but he
what
does
Puerto Ricans
say-
ever won a golf
But
tournament
he does
in
say
Pittsburgh?
he does say she could never turn your kids against you.
Yeah.
Which I was like, knowing the episode, I was like, oh
Jack's
boy.
not always right.
Oh boy.
But I like that he mentions, take the same tenacity that you approached your job with and
Yes.
make sure those kids know you're still their dad.
Yeah.
And use that same energy to focus it on them.
Which
Right.
I feel like Miguel has done for Jack at one point up to this point. Doesn't Miguel give Jack a speech at some point about like
That was like maybe one or two where
one-
he's like,
it's like
don't ruin.
You got a great thing at home. Your wife
got-
is
yeah.
smoking,
Yeah.
and where everybody's like, "Why are you talking about his wife being smoking?" Like, that's how it went.
Don't worry about it.
Don't
it
worry
was
about it.
essentially
Miguel's just being
two friends holding each other to a higher standard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be the man I know you are.
Yeah, the
Right.
man I see.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I would love if we can, because I know I do these little tangents, but I just love how the show relates to real life and how you guys deal with it. In terms of work-life balance, do you have any sort of strictures that you try to put in place to make sure that you allocate the appropriate amount of time to everything that is in your life? Or do you feel like you take it day by day? Like I'm just very curious.
Yeah, I have some rules.
Hit us up. Hit us
Please.
up.
So my phone is on Do Not Disturb from I think 6 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
I don't do any business calls or anything like that after 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And then on weekends, I don't either.
Beautiful.
It's
I
just
love those boundaries.
Beautiful.
yeah. And so it's just my time and my wife's time, and
How long have you done that? How long?
probably 6 or 7 years now.
So
Maybe no more
somewhere
than that. Actually, like
before the show,
about 10 years.
like the beginning of the show.
Before the beginning.
Before
of
the
the show.
beginning of the show.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And you feel like everybody knows that and they just respect it. Like your team knows it and they get a little frustrated.
Well, my team does.
Okay.
But everybody else, like, there are some people that still are like,
Pick up the phone.
yeah, 8:30 texting me like, hey man, can I give you a call about this script or whatever? And I'm like,
Yeah.
Just ignore it.
I got you.
Text
I
me
can
next
wait
day.
till tomorrow.
Yes.
I saw you called last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the
I say it with
idea
with a little like
that we are able to
Yeah.
be reached 24 hours a day
Yeah.
is a very new thing.
Yeah.
That people
Right.
now automatically assume, like,
Right.
why aren't you reachable?
remember back like in the before there were cell phones.
Yeah.
If you were at dinner with your family and the phone rang, there'd be like a look across the table
Yeah.
like,
Why are they calling during
who
dinner?
called? Who is
Who
calling?
calls
Yeah.
between
Dinner
6 and 7:30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And
it
then after-
must be an emergency.
Right. Then after
Right.
dinner time is like family time. Like maybe we're watching something together. Kids
Right.
doing homework.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's calling?
9 times out of 10, it was a telemarketer because they
Basically.
knew you were going to be home.
Even now, my own,
Right.
I have a home line. I was like, I don't answer this line. Nobody should have this phone number.
yeah.
I ripped that like off my new house, the
Yeah.
farm. Like there was a hard line coming into the house. What the hell is this? Just rip it off.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
There you go. What
Hardwired.
about you
Put a rotary
beautiful
phone in
people?
this.
How do you guys, I mean, especially for you guys, with the young people in
I
the
have no
house.
boundaries.
Yeah.
They got screens. they got...
No, they have boundaries. I have no boundaries.
Oh, you have no boundaries. Yeah.
I have no boundaries. Yeah, I should be better about that. I'm going to take a page out of your book, John.
Except if I call you at 10 o'clock, just answer the phone.
I mean, I will, obviously. No,
Totally.
I'm actually
Wait,
asleep.
why are you calling at 10 o'clock?
Hey,
That's
yo,
too late, John.
listen.
If
you
I get
already
text-
took
I'm
them from
asleep.
Jack.
Listen.
She's my like emergency contact. If I get attacked by a turkey, she's gonna have to.
Yeah. Listen,
I'm
Mandy.
the call.
I'm on the roof of my car. I'm surrounded by turkeys.
I cannot get hold of Nicole, please.
Here's something though, man, because your husband has to go on the road for his job a certain
Yeah.
amount. So do you guys talk about like, all right,
Oh, yeah.
if you're gonna be gone for this amount of time, like, can you be like, is there a negotiation there?
I feel like we're just starting to enter that territory of
Okay.
negotiation. Like we are in firm agreement that we really don't ever want to be away from the kids, like both of us at the same time.
Sure.
So trying to navigate those waters of like, okay, well, this is my work schedule, this is your work schedule, and trying to coordinate it in that
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
But that's just starting to factor in
Got it.
now. in a
Next
way,
time he
yeah.
goes on the road, you're gonna be like, pick 2. You're
Yeah.
taking them with you.
Exactly. You're taking 2. I'll take 1, you take 2.
What about
You're
you?
sitting around all day.
Yeah.
You work 2.5 hours a day.
Maybe. That's generous.
What about you, Sal?
I am fully present. I don't work for 7 to 8 months out of the year until the financial strain becomes too much, and then I disappear for 4 months.
Yep.
That's how I
Never
like to.
like
Just
no,
like
how I like
no
to-
contact.
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
wife's
yeah,
just like
that's the plan. Is I
your
try
wife is
to-
like, I don't know where he is.
Listen, I'm home all day. I do drop off, pick up, lunches, bedtimes, 8 months straight. And then when people start to panic,
I
Daddy
leave.
disappears. I gotta go. I'll be in Toronto.
And Rachel's cool because she's like, she looks at the bank account, there's money coming in.
All right.
Yeah. Doesn't
All
matter.
right.
I don't care where he is.
She felt the same strain.
money.
After
He's-
about 8 months, she's like, "What are you still doing here?"
I love that this is funny, but that he's completely serious, and it makes my heart a little sad at the same time. Like all things happening simultaneously. He's not lying, and it's not a good thing. So I have a couple of rules. We as a family, Ryan and I, when we first got married, we had a 6-week rule. Like we wouldn't go longer than 6 weeks, but it's because I was shooting Army Wives and I was in Charleston, and it was like, let's not go. 6 weeks is too long. I'm a firm believer 6 weeks is too long. So we've cut that in half. It's 3 weeks. If I can not be gone longer than 2 weeks without somebody getting on the plane to see the other person with the kids, that's the best. The first time since the kids have been born, we had to go 5 weeks when I was in Australia. And it was long. Thankfully, like as opposed to the beginning of the marriage, there's FaceTime and everything, so I get a chance to talk to them. And the time difference was 16 hours into the future. So I would just wake up whenever they went to school and when they got home from school, so I could just at least see them for a certain period of time. That's one of the few things that we actively try to do. But in terms of just like, I've sort of come up with a formula for how I want my career to go if the universe sees fit. which is a television show that shoots in Los Angeles for the majority of the year. And then a little bit of time to play, to either do a film or a play, right? Or both, right? But the idea that my family knows where I am for at least half the year is very comforting to me. So when people say like, oh, don't you want to go do movies? And they get all sort of mad at me for doing it, I was like, I'm good. I get the best
of both worlds.
All of it.
Yeah.
You know, and my family gets to see me and I get to see them, because you guys know, like, so much changes and shifts in these young people that, like, sometimes if you're gone too long, you're like, oh, snap, did I miss? I don't want to miss none of that.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one of the few things. So thank you. I'm curious to...
So the longest, since you guys have been together, the longest you guys have ever been apart is 6 weeks.
5.
5 weeks.
Oh, no, well, since Mariah and I have been together 6 weeks, right? Since being parents, 5 weeks, and that just happened this past year.
Wow.
Besides that, only 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's very admirable.
It's try.
I know it takes work though. It takes planning.
Work. Absolutely. We'll be right back with more That Was Us.
Okay, we've talked a lot about growing up on the show and how life just gets more complex. That definitely includes how your body feels. Like, suddenly your soda habit from 1998 not sitting so well anymore.
Exactly, which is why I switched to Olipop. It tastes like the soda I grew up on, but it actually supports gut health and has way less sugar. Just 2 to 5 grams per can and 9 grams of prebiotic fiber, Sterling.
Let's be honest here, Saul. We all care more about what we put in our bodies now. You know, the more you learn, the better you try to do, especially when digestive issues become more real than theoretical. That can of soda that you had back in the day, like, it hit it one way. Now you try to do it and you feel like your head is about to explode.
Buddy,
Absolutely.
I go cross-eyed. It's so sweet.
But
It's
what
insane.
I love is that this doesn't feel like a health drink. It really does feel like soda. My favorite is the classic grape.
Okay.
And the Orange Crush brings me right back to childhood.
Love that purple stuff, girl. Come on now.
Oh, it's the best.
I
It's
just
my favorite. It
popped-
feels like summer.
I just popped this crisp apple,
I love the crisp apple.
and it is like...
It is a fall
crisp.
favorite, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
You know, now that we're transitioning into summer, I got to
The
go
grape.
with my orange and grape. But
Understood.
but apple hits too.
Crisp.
I'd have this anytime.
Crisp.
Listen, whether you're chilling out after an emotional binge watch or you need a bubbly pick-me-up without the sugar crash, Olipop is kind of the adult version of soda we all deserve. And you can find it pretty much anywhere. Olipop is sold online at drinkolipop.com and on Amazon, and it is available in almost 50,000 retailers nationwide, including Costco, Walmart, Target, Publix, Whole Foods, Kroger, and H-E-B.
And you can even get a free can. Buy any 2 cans in store and Olipop will pay you back for 1. It works on any flavor, any retailer. Just head to drinkolipop.com/TWU. That's drinkolipop.com/TWU. Your gut will thank you. You know that summer moment when you realize nothing in your closet feels quite right? Same. But this year, I didn't panic buy. I discovered Quince, and now I actually look forward to getting dressed.
It's summer. To me, summer is all about linen.
Okay.
I just got myself some new linen pieces that are great to travel with.
I like it.
You did?
Linen
You're-
pants.
Totally, you're a linen guy.
Linen
I can
shirt?
tell, yeah. I have same.
It
I
breathes.
need like a matching set.
Big, bold color block. I
Oh.
did like an olive,
Come on,
full
big dog.
olive
Of course you
green
did.
Hell
outfit.
yeah, you
I'm
did.
a little more of the beige family.
I got beige too. So I can mix and match. We're going to the Midwest. We're taking family portraits.
Right on.
We got the whole family Quince
Quince.
outfits to match for the
I love
photos.
that. From European linen dresses starting at just $30 to swimwear and Italian leather sandals, Quince nails that elevated look without draining your budget. And when I'm getting myself some upgrades, I always love to get something for the kids too.
Like
As we
I'm
just
saying.
mentioned, yes.
to.
Little
Can't
cutie,
forget about them.
Little cutie outfits.
Yes.
Quince works directly with top artisans and cuts out the middlemen. So you're not paying extra for a label. Just timeless pieces, beautifully made at an unreal price.
And they only work with factories that meet high ethical standards, so you can feel good about what you're wearing.
Give your summer closet an upgrade
with Quince. Go to quince.com/TWU for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/TWU to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/TWU.
Thanksgiving number 2.
You want to jump to which one are you going to jump to? Because I want to kind of finish out the Miguel storyline.
The whole storyline?
I kind of like the
through line,
line of it.
Okay.
To go
You
to
sure? I don't want to listen. Hey,
Miguel and Rebecca?
Hey, you stop.
Thanksgiving number 1. We'll get you out here early.
He's still going to
still
chime in. No, you still going to chime in on the other stuff. But do we jump to, is that the end of it in the past?
It is. I mean, it really ends with Randall saying, reading the essay.
Right.
And
right. Okay, so
saying that
we'll come back to it then. So we see Miguel, present day Miguel and Rebecca going to Scarsdale. Is that where we're going?
I believe so, yeah. Upstate New York.
In the car?
To see your daughter.
Amber.
And son.
Daughter and son, and meeting the grandson for the first time?
Meeting the grandson for the first time.
Meeting the grandson for the first time. And he says we're a pity invite, and he's having...
Shelley's, going to see...
She's with her new husband's family,
yep.
et cetera, and he's sort of feeling anxious about it.
Yep.
And what do you say something to him, Rebecca, don't you?
Do I? I don't remember.
Something sweet.
You say, gobble, 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 gobble.
When I can't remember, I'm just going to gobble.
You say something sweet, but then they get there, and I have to add, there is Amari Michael Ryan Christian Brown watched this episode with me last night, and he was watching the interaction at the table. He said a couple of things to me which were really interesting because it's the first, he hasn't had to deal with too many step parents and stepchildren sorts of
dynamic.
things and the dynamics. And he's like, so that's his son and that's his daughter and that's her husband and that's their child and that's it. And he's like, he says families get really complicated when you get divorced. And it's just one of those things that you just sort of
You're right.
note to self.
Yeah.
Try not to get
divorced.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because he just sort of clocked it and innocently as all could be. But he was like, man, that's a lot.
And you
right?
said they're pretty complicated when you're still together.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. That doesn't even have to factor into making complicated.
It does not at all. Okay, visiting daughter. They start to talk about Kevin's movie, and they say the kids say they haven't seen it yet, and they heard it wasn't that great or anything.
The actor who plays your son,
Will,
he brings it.
He is such
so
a dick.
He brings it.
but his background is
He brings it.
comedy. He's a comedic actor. Yeah,
That doesn't
improvisational
surprise me.
comedy.
That doesn't
and
surprise me.
he's so good at just being a little.
So wait,
I mean,
I'm not even
he is in this show for 6 minutes.
yeah,
And he
leaves.
you immediately
with-
can see a history, a lifetime of resentment.
Resentment.
he brought a sword to the table.
Man.
He
just
did.
cutting him up.
Yeah, man.
Kevin's movie. We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
Just
But
heard mixed.
have it heard mixed. And I love that
Right,
Rebecca
heard
jumps
mixed.
right in with Rotten Tomatoes.
Rebecca.
Rotten Tomatoes
let it
review.
land
But
on
Yeah.
but
mixed.
Rebecca's
The mom.
sort of rebuttal is oh, I don't know, it got a 94%,
98% on Rotten
Tomatoes. Knowing
She did come
damn
back
well,
with it.
she's like, his movie's dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, she came back a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was nice.
The
Subtly.
Ron Howard
Yeah.
movie.
And then
yeah.
my man Will he goes, first you steal my father from my mother. Now you're trying to kill my brother-in-law because there's sliced
Some nuts
almonds
in the dish you brought.
in
Yeah.
the sweet potato souffle or what have
Yeah.
you. In which Amari Michael Ryan Christian Brown just goes, shots fired.
Did he really?
I can't. I cannot. We got to have some live
That's funny.
commentary from this.
Oh my God.
boy.
I
Oh
was
my God.
crying when he did it.
Hilarious.
Shots fired.
What?
Not wrong.
This is an interesting day on set, right? Because we have two regulars are on the show who are now sitting down with 6 day players.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting dynamic on a set.
Day players with which we are supposed to have a lifetime of
An
history.
intimate relation with.
Yeah.
Tell us
And-
about the day.
And interestingly enough, like maybe not as intimate,
Right.
Which
Not
is
as
part of the
intimate, but
service.
still a
Right,
history.
right.
Yeah,
But
history.
you're right. That
Yeah.
that definitely
Yeah,
helps
that kind of
serve
intimacy,
like
like a history,
the
yeah.
stranger element.
Yeah.
I mean, the day was a little crazy because, and there was a whole story change because of this Thanksgiving dinner. If you remember,
Yeah.
there was a baby
Okay.
that was supposed to be my daughter's son.
Yeah.
Wasn't adopted originally.
Right.
This baby was the actor that was just like screaming
Yeah.
bloody murder the entire time we were trying to shoot.
Yeah.
And they'd take the baby out and bring in the stand-in baby.
Which was
and the stand-in baby was like, "Yo, man, what y'all want to do?" and
And that
just
baby was-
awesome. And finally, and it just was not going well. Catherine Harder was just like getting red and being like, I just don't even, like we were losing the day.
Yeah.
And I finally said, why don't we just use the stand-in baby? And they're like, he's Asian. Yeah, he's adopted.
Boom.
Welcome
That's what
real life.
they do in that family, in the
Yeah.
Pearson family. That's what we do on the show. People get adopted.
Sure.
So let's just, and they were like, oh, ding, ding, ding. And they swapped out the baby and the day went smooth.
Yeah.
It was your pitch.
It wasn't my pitch. I
Look
think
at
it
you.
was.
I think it was.
Yeah.
That is great.
Hysterical. And you mentioned the director of this episode, Catherine Hardwick,
Yep, Catherine
who you
Harder.
are friends with.
I'm friends with her.
Yeah.
How many episodes of our show did she do? Just this one?
No, she did
Did
like
she do two?
two or three.
I think she did
Two.
Yeah.
But
believe it was two.
she is also the director of Lords of Dogtown,
Yeah, 13, Lords of Dogtown, the first Twilight
First
movie.
first Twilight movie, and
Yeah.
you guys did a film together, right?
Yeah, we did a film with Brian Cox called Prisoner's Daughter.
Because.
Kate Beckinsale. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, she's great. She's
She's
yeah,
great.
and she's a neighbor, and we do game night all the time.
I love that.
So these children are firing shots, as
Yes.
Amari has
Yeah.
Yes, these
has
adult
noted.
children of yours.
Well, my son was,
Yeah,
but
He was-
the daughter was
trying to
trying to
engage.
trying to she was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Cordial.
Yeah.
She was trying to
Yeah.
be cordial.
Cordial.
and we get one of the
It was a
I
good
think
monologue.
like a pivotal moment
yes,
for our
agreed.
audience
Agreed.
with Miguel.
Massive.
Yeah.
A
Massive.
clarifying moment.
I think
Right.
so.
Well, I also feel like this is more information. It's helping sort of like color in the picture of who Miguel is and slowly but surely turn the audience more on his
I
side.
think like his son sort of represented a lot of what many of our audience
Sure.
thought
Yeah.
about Miguel.
Stealing
Yes.
stealing Rebecca.
And there's a whole thing about like we
Or
were
Rebecca stealing him, I guess, from
Well,
their
yes,
mother.
it
It's like, oh,
was-
that's an interesting
yeah,
inversion.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that was a device that they use is like to speak to the audience's idea that I stole Rebecca.
Yeah.
They kind of flipped it on its head and showed the audience what they were thinking through my son.
Yeah.
And then and that's just ridiculous,
It's
right?
ridiculous,
It's ridiculous
yeah.
that Rebecca stole Miguel,
Yeah.
which hopefully started to make the audience feel that it was ridiculous
Yeah.
that Miguel would steal Jack or
Yeah,
Jack
yeah,
from
yeah.
Jack, Rebecca
In
from
one
Jack.
monologue, because our show jumps back and forth through time so much,
Mm-hmm.
it all feels so immediate,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Like you were married and then you're not, and now you're married, right?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
the way it edits together, it's like
Sure.
I don't remember how many episodes ago. It's you realize that Jack is dead, and you show up at the door, and
Right.
it just feels
It's
immediate.
102. The end
Yeah.
of 102.
One
Yeah.
excellent piece of writing, expertly delivered. You lay out. No. Here's how it went down.
Yeah.
Oh, the timeline. Yeah,
The
that's right.
timeline
Yeah, he
for the
says,
audience.
10 years
10
after
years.
Jack died, we found each other.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
line, I think. Yeah.
Right.
And at this point, obviously, at first, people had they bristled at the idea of Miguel, Jack's best friend, being with his wife. Then, after a while, I feel like it just kind of became fun. It
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
they're-
yeah.
and Miguel can be the bad guy, and
Basically.
it was like, yeah, but you don't really dislike Miguel.
Sure.
You can't. You cannot dislike
And you
Miguel.
can't
No.
dislike him, especially after that monologue.
He stands up for his wife. He's like, look, you can give me all the shade basically that you want to. But like we found each other, we filled there's one line that I thought was funny and we filled a hole in each other's lives. And I was like, I bet you did.
Yeah.
And then, but
Sometimes people just match.
sometimes
Perfectly.
you just
They just
feel,
fit.
Physically. I mean,
sometimes you just feel holes. But basically he
Ay.
says,
I'm sorry,
put
man.
some
For him.
put some respect on my wife's name.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Show her
Like,
some
you know,
respect.
if you ain't gonna do that, then you can keep her name out of your anyway.
Mouth.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was really quite beautiful. Your daughter immediately reaches out and is like, "Yo, that's on me."
One thing in that moment, I noticed she made a choice. My daughter.
Yeah.
She only grabbed these 3 fingers.
Yeah.
I don't know
You feel like that's a
why she
halfway?
didn't. Why didn't she grab my pinky?
Let me see
Why
what that
did
feels like.
She just grabbed that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
And this
Maybe it's a
pinky-
little easier. I don't know.
Is my hand gigantic or something? It feels like it's normal size.
You thick?
Never heard that before. You got thick hands, bro.
It's good to have you here, man.
Thick hands.
At the
You
end
and
of
your
it,
thick-ass
at the
hands.
end of the whole thing, again, Amari Michael Ryan Christian Brown says, I quote, "Son sounds like a real douchebag."
Cannot. We have to have him on the show.
Wasn't he at the
Period.
the last time I was here? Wasn't he waiting in the
Yes.
lobby?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amari's always circling. He's like, how do I get in?
He wants
Yeah.
to be on this
He wants his
podcast.
moment.
I feel like when I walked out last time, he was like, "It's about time."
Probably.
That's probably right.
He runs my iPad down to like 1%, and he's like, "What am I supposed to do now?" I'm like, "Plug it in, bro."
Thank God you're here. I need a cord.
Anybody else? Anything else to say about that sort of like
Thanksgiving
Miguel through line?
number
into
3?
Thanksgiving? Let's move it to it. What you got?
Yeah.
Number 3 would be what? What do we want to go
Which
back
one you wanna
to?
do?
Do we want to go to Beth and Randall?
Present day, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We can do a little
Beth
B&R.
and
We
Mandy,
can do a little R&B.
Yeah, because people
I
are-
wrote, okay, boxer briefs.
Yeah.
So it's, just so you know, note, it's always 2 pairs. It's a pair underneath a pair. Because you know people are going to freeze frame you. You're like, come on, man, just pay
Yeah.
attention.
Trying to get the outline.
Pay attention to what I'm saying.
Does
Yeah.
2 pair like hide the outline?
Sort of just like, it just sort of
Yeah.
pushes it a little there. Yeah.
I mean,
Again, watch on
try-
YouTube so
wait,
you can
are you-
see the gestures.
Are
of
you
the-
trying to explain to us why it's flat in the front?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah, that's exactly.
because it was 2
I see.
pairs of
I
underwear.
have a penis, but they try not to show it on NBC at 9 o'clock.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
it's
two pairs
two
of
pairs
boxer
of underwear
briefs.
pushed down.
Makes it look like you don't have a penis.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then I do this tuck thing. No.
Yeah.
You're a Ken doll. Got it.
Got
Correct.
it. Got it.
Okay, so,
I thought Randall walked from
No.
but we then realized that we're trying to understand Beth's role
Yeah.
in Randall's campaign, and we understand now that she is a field director.
She is a
right?
field
That's what we're calling
director.
it. That's the
Yes.
the job title.
Correct.
That
But
she's been given.
She's also talking about like, I wonder, does Jaywan think that I'm doing great? And he's like, dude, you've come up with great idea
Yeah.
after great idea. Everything that's been coming up roses. There's no need
Fantastic idea. Stupendous. What was the word?
to worry. Stupendous.
Stupendous, yeah.
Stupendous idea.
Wow.
But
Every
also because
idea-
she's lost her job, she's finding some meaning, like something
Exactly.
Yeah.
to grab onto and,
Exactly.
and contribute and feel like she has purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Need something to grab on.
they're gonna
Everything's
go-
flat on the front over here.
Exactly.
Old flat front Randall.
Old flat front Randall.
I remember sometimes I pushed back and I was like, guys, why do I have to wear 2? And then I put on one
People have
pair,
penises.
And then I was like, no,
Yeah.
it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much for people.
Oh, you
people
had to
gotta
get that
focus.
in there.
We got to focus.
It's
Trust me,
too much.
Sterling.
My
When
junk
you,
is
when
too
you don't
much.
have a shirt
gotta
on, no one's looking at your crotch.
Well, thank you.
That's what
Yeah.
I said.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
That's the okay boxer briefs was more of like, okay, someone's half naked on television.
Yeah.
It was funny too because Catherine Hardwick was like, "What kind of toothpaste are we using?" while he's brushing his teeth because it was an electric toothbrush, and she wanted very much to see more lather coming out of my mouth. At a certain point, like you brush your teeth so much, it gets raw. Have you guys ever had to brush your
We
teeth?
talked about it
We
on
have
this
talked
podcast.
about this.
Yeah.
You burned your mouth.
The inside of my mouth, and this is the word I'll use, sloughed off.
Sloughed off.
Toothpaste.
Because
you
burned
had
it
to
with toothpaste.
brush
I was brushing my teeth for so long,
Yeah.
the inside of my cheek just fell off.
I was like, Catherine
Wow, I
Hardwick,
never-
we don't need that much lather. Just carry. They know I'm brushing my teeth. So we finally got through that. At the end of the scene, it ties in. Tess comes in and it is sort of like in a state not feeling
feeling
great
good. Yeah.
about things. And then, and this will tie into, I just want to put it all together like Black Pearson stuff. Deja is, her mom sends her a text just being like,
Happy Thanksgiving.
et cetera. And Deja sees Tess and Beth having a moment with each other and just feeling a little like, I don't have my mom anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like
Don't have that.
that
There was a
connection.
little parallel between Miguel and Deja.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Well, because Miguel's looking at the family going,
Yeah.
Boom.
I don't have family anymore. And
Yes,
right.
it's the same. It was
Very
kind of
much so.
when I watched the episode.
The Pearsons just making
it away.
everybody feel bad.
And the reason there are so many Thanksgivings while they're so is because most of the family's going off to the homeless shelter.
We're going to the shelter to feed. Yeah.
And Kate and Toby are staying at your house.
That's correct. You guys are coming to the crib to cook.
Man the family's meal prep.
Yes.
While you do essentially a campaigning.
Yeah.
At the homeless shelter.
Yeah. But it's interesting too because I think Beth is like, her whole idea as a field director is like, we're trying to make authentic connections with the community.
Right.
And then Jaywan is like, yeah, but we kind of need people to see it.
We need publicity as well.
Right. In order
this
to.
This is the double-edged sword
And it is,
of politics, right?
But not even politics, but even like what we do to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like,
If it's not captured,
does it really exist?
did it happen?
You know what I'm saying? And if we don't talk about it, will people come and pay attention to it? And for such a long time, you're just like, I just want to do this thing that I love.
Yeah.
But now this thing that you love, part of your job once you reach a certain point is
talk
like
about it.
letting people know about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So just real quick, how do you all feel about that part of the job?
Not a big fan.
Speak on it.
I'm not really. I don't really. I'm hard. I don't plug stuff. I don't talk about it. Like you said, I just try to do the work. I don't like the
Going on
publicity.
podcasts.
I hate going on podcasts. I hate the publicity, the events and all
Sure.
the stuff. Press. I'm just not a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
Because it breaks my rules. Because it's usually after 6 o'clock, right?
I
Or
hear
sometimes
Like, I'm
on
off the
weekends.
clock.
Sure.
You know, so
Yes.
so that's one of the reasons I don't like it. And it's just I think a little bit of an introvert.
Yeah.
So I don't who's learned to be an extrovert.
You're like an extroverted introvert, would you say?
Introverted extrovert.
And-
I don't know that.
Do you have an outie or an innie?
I have an innie. Well, it's
Sure.
Oh, jeez.
I'm good. Okay. I didn't wear my 2 T-shirts to keep my outie belly button flat against my belly.
You say it's like one of those little pop toys. You got to keep it in.
Yeah.
You get squeezed,
Like
John, if you're
a
stressed.
balloon, like a
his
balloon's got a little
belly button
air in
comes
it, you
out.
gotta push it back.
What about you? I mean, Mandy
Chris?
more.
I mean, I don't mind the press. I don't mind the press stuff. But it is interesting. The parallel I was thinking about is I have a friend right now who's trying to make his first feature.
Okay.
And he's trying to cast it.
Yeah.
And he knows all kinds of talented actors.
But he's also looking at them IG numbers, bro.
And
TikTok numbers.
The phrase
Right.
he has used is, but they have to be a value add.
Wow.
And I will say this: he's trying to do a movie, and he got a lead
Yeah.
to do this film. That if I said the name, I won't say it now because if I said it, you'd be like, "Oh, so the movie's a go,"
Right.
And you're like, "No, even with that man,
Yeah.
the
You
movie,
can tell us after the podcast.
Yeah, tell us
Now
after.
I'm curious.
the movie is not a go.
Sure.
You need
Just say his initials. Are they Liam Neeson?
You need the first initial is Liam. The second initial is Neeson. No, you need 3 of him or her
Interesting.
Right.
to make this a thing. And I'm just like,
Interesting.
and I'm sitting here going, you have to be
Yeah.
kidding me. Like,
Yeah.
what about making a good movie?
Right.
Not enough.
Right.
Not enough to win an Academy
If people
Award.
don't
Nora.
see it.
What about doing a good
No
thing?
stars.
Not enough.
Right.
What about making an honest connection at a homeless shelter with
Sure.
your family? Not enough.
Not enough.
You want
Not
to
in
win?
this day
You
and
want to
age.
win an election, or do you want to feed somebody lunch?
Right.
Like it's a weird
Right.
political.
Very.
It's all
Mandy, what you got? Because you've been doing it for a long time, man. Like I'm sure, like maybe
So
your
good at it,
relationship has evolved over time from being a kid to an adult.
I feel okay with it. I mean, I share. Yeah, I don't mind. I think I've been doing it for so long. I don't mind, and I don't mind sharing my life. I think as long as it's on my terms. I
Yeah.
don't like when somebody or something else dictates, like, this is what you have to do or this is what you
Right.
have to
That's
say.
when you bristle a little bit.
Yeah, that's when I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel authentic. Like,
Right.
I just want to share a goofy picture from like my day
Sure.
and not have somebody say like, this
Yeah.
is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Welcome
Otherwise,
to
it doesn't
Delta
work.
in-flight system.
Exactly.
I'm Mandy Moore.
Yeah, yeah.
It would take me like sometimes an hour to feel good about what I'm about to post. Like I'm like working on it, rewriting it.
Sure.
Mandy would like take her phone out and like ching, 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 and then I'd
Yeah.
see the reel and I'd be like, that's magical.
Yeah.
It's like she hired someone to
Yeah,
like shoot and edit it. And I
right. Yeah,
remember when she
right.
had the phone in my face and
Yeah.
yours, and I'm serious. You were just such
you're
a
good.
natural at like
You're sweet.
finding a great moment and knowing how to show the world like, you know, an organic and authentic moment that's just like, I think that people connect to. I mean, that's why I think you're so good at it. So they're like, John, just stop posting.
That's not.
You should
I think there's some self-esteem
You're
issues.
hysterical.
I think there's some self-esteem issues for me when
I get it.
For me, John. For me.
I get it.
When it comes to this stuff, because it's like showing up to an event or even posting online. It's like nobody cares if I post or if I'm there or I get there to the premiere. I get there, I go to the premiere and everybody's like, I'm sorry, what are you? Oh yeah, Chris Sullivan, you know what I mean? Like there's like
Did you see it written on the piece of paper?
there's a thing, like it's tricky. It's hard. It's like these little micro rejections that we were talking about. But especially when it comes to social media stuff, I think part of the reason I am so quote like annoyed, like I see an influencer in the wild or something. I'm like, the confidence, the lack of insecurity there. I'm here at the new donut shop, and you guys, these donuts are crazy. And you're like,
Yeah.
the audacity
Yeah.
to just, I was like, I thought I was pulling out of a gas station yesterday, and there was an insane person in the car next to me. Ow! Right? What are you guys doing? And I look on his dash, and he's live streaming
Totally.
in his car.
Totally.
And he's like, what do you think, chat? And I'm like,
Oh.
the reckless abandon,
Yeah. With
the
which.
pure confidence, the audacity that I have had to cultivate to get on a stage in front of someone and say, look at me. This is worth your attention.
Yeah.
Or to go into an audition and say, everybody quiet, watch this.
Right.
You know, it's like one thing, but like all of this extra stuff, like to get that to like roll over is hard for me.
Yeah.
And then when you see that they've got like 15 million followers,
Yeah.
like how? What? I just saw him acting like a goofball in a car, and you guys like that? And I'm so insecure about what I'm gonna write or post or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Because to see somebody act that way, I don't know. When I see it, I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I see it posted.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because it gives me permission to fucking go dance in a waterfall somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Go sing in a fountain, like whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
I think you've hit on what I think the key sort of thing is, and Mandy Moore, I think, understands it, is authenticity. Like, if you are using your platform in such a way that feels authentic to you, then I think most people are going to respond to it. So it's like, that donut shop thing may not be exactly your thing.
Right.
But if you find your version of it, that's the thing that will draw people in. And then the other part is like on your terms. It's easy to talk about things that you love, or easier, I would say.
Yeah.
When you are asked to promote something that you do not love.
Oh, that's tough.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
It's like, can we not do this? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have too many good things to say about it.
Right.
And I'd rather just let that cup pass me by.
Right.
You know, but it is part of the job. And also, it's like, you would like to believe, and this is the thing about the artist and the business of the art, you would love that the art would just speak for itself.
Right.
You got to tell the business mandates that you got to tell people about this.
All art meets commerce. And hopefully,
It's true.
in the most perfect situation, they meet on the 50-yard line.
Sure. Yeah.
Some is more commerce than art.
Come on.
And some is more art than commerce.
Sure.
And the stuff that is more art than commerce does not get as many eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
And the stuff that is more commerce than art,
The stuff I don't want to talk about.
tends to get a lot of
It
eyes.
gets a lot of eyes.
And it gets a little less artistic.
Yes.
You know, and then there's those things that meet in the middle.
That's what this show felt like.
Yeah. This
Right.
show was that.
Because also, too, the lifting of this show was never on one person.
Right.
We all sort of got out there collectively to
Yes.
discuss it.
Yeah.
And that felt much easier. Because if it falls on one person, it's heavier.
Yeah.
But we had to split it. Like, it was all of us.
As an ensemble,
Yeah.
it was incumbent on all of us, and we all wanted to.
Yes.
It's like it was easy to rise to the occasion and do
Yeah.
what we had to do to speak about this, because like
It was an
we
excuse to
loved
just
it.
be together too.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
Totally.
More That Was Us after this short break.
Everyone has a different idea of the perfect summer trip. Mine looks like being organized, having a place that is comfortable to land with plenty of activities for the kids, being able to be outside, not worrying about bugs, all the things that sort of come along with summer. But I want adventure.
Yeah.
I want campfires. I want hiking. I want sunshine. I want swimming in a lake. All of those things I'm hoping to accomplish this summer.
I like
Yeah,
that.
this summer, we're already in Southern California, but we're going even further south this summer, down to the beach cities with the kids. We're going to visit friends. We're going to celebrate birthdays. And there's all these great little Airbnb spots along the way.
Come on, man. No matter what your idea of the perfect summer trip is, we can all agree your home could be doing a little something for you while you're out enjoying yourself, hosting someone else who's looking for a place to stay.
Exactly. It is the perfect time to open your home to guests while you're off doing your own thing. Hosting on Airbnb fits right into real life. No big commitment, no huge effort, just putting your space to good use.
Summer is about making memories, and hosting can help someone else make theirs too. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host.
So, okay, that was what I wanted to talk about. That we can continue with Beth and Randall.
Yeah,
We
So
get
to the homeless
they go to
shelter?
this. They go to the soup kitchen.
Yeah.
Toby and Kate stay behind. They
Right.
bring. Tess doesn't feel well, so she stays behind with
Correct.
Kate and Toby
Yes.
as they endeavor to cook Thanksgiving dinner. Which,
Correct.
in my mind, I was like, "Wow, that's big of Randall because this is his holiday."
It's
Right,
his holiday, but he's also got this job that he's actively pursuing, and it's an opportunity for him and his wife to do something together.
Right.
I think both of those things are like will supersede, not replace, but like all right, I have to prioritize doing something with my wife, and I said I'm going to do this,
Right.
Sure.
campaign. So let's
So
do the
Annie
campaign.
and Deja go with them.
Right.
Tess stays home with Kate and Toby.
Yeah,
Jaywan and Beth are just not on the same page.
Not at all.
They have very different strategies,
Yeah.
as we sort of alluded to.
Yeah.
Beth is very much of the thinking, like she changed the venue, right? It was initially supposed to be
at a historic church that is like
Yeah,
one of the big places,
Yeah,
and
Baptist
now,
church.
Yeah, and now Counselor Brown is there.
Yeah.
instead. Yeah,
and
Counselor Brown.
all of the press has sort of stayed there, and so they're covering that event.
Yes.
Nobody is here at the soup kitchen.
Right.
Jaywan's a little bit like, feels a little like, you know,
Why are we even here? For him, why
kind
are we here?
of.
'Cause
And like,
nobody's gonna see it.
What role is Beth playing in this campaign? Like, aren't I the campaign
Shout
manager
out to
who's
Tim
supposed
Joe.
to?
Right.
He's like, look, man, like this ain't quite right. It's not normally how it goes. Like you asked me to do a job, I'm trying
Yeah.
to do the job, but it looks like you're trying to cut my legs out.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We got to get him on the show.
we
gotta
really
get
do.
to-
He's so fantastic.
Tim Joe's a beast. He's a beast.
So he's frustrated because he finally then manages to like convince a photographer from the church to come over to the soup
Yeah.
kitchen to at least document.
Real quick, I just want to go through the montage of seeing community service in action, which is really quite lovely, and a reminder to me of like, oh man, like giving back is a wonderful thing. It serves a group of people, but it also gives a wonderful sense of like purpose, right?
Yes.
And in the midst of that, we have a shot of Deja as she's giving food out, seeing her on the opposite side of
Receiving
that.
food.
Her and Shauna receiving food. And Shauna saying like, hey man, you can give her another cookie, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta be stingy, she's a growing girl. And then Annie saying to Deja on the flip, like, you're giving too many. And she's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
They ain't missing it. You know what I'm saying? Like understanding the game in a way that the Pearsons
Would never.
would never.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
So J1, is excited. He got this photographer that's going to come and document this experience. And Beth kind of steps in and is like, no, this is exactly what we said we weren't going to do. Like,
Right.
we're coming here to serve the community.
Yes.
We're not here for a publicity stunt.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that. She has the final say.
It is Randall says
Randall says,
something.
I don't care if it's a mistake.
Thank you.
She's my wife.
Yeah. And I was
Which-
thinking, was that the best choice? Big Randall?
It's not the worst.
It's not the
It's like, it's just not phrased
Right.
exactly correctly.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like for you, did you think as Randall,
Yeah.
like did you what you were saying in the moment, did you even know that she first of all, she was in earshot.
Right.
And secondly, did you know I shouldn't be saying it like this.
And did you believe it?
And you believe it? Yeah.
You know, this is interesting because I asked myself this question as well, because I think Brown is more, all right, if it's good advice from anybody, whether it's wife or outside of wife, I'm going to try to heed it, right? But I think Randall is in a very particular spot with Beth, knowing that she needs this as much, like as much as I need us to be together in something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being together in something in his mind is like, I'm going to listen to my wife. I'm going to listen to the person that I share a bed with, that I share a life with, right? And even if it's a mistake, it doesn't matter. Like it's her suggestion, it's her idea. We're gonna follow it through to its end to see how it plays itself out. I think Brown is different than Randall in that way, because it's like, oh, if in the moment it doesn't seem to make sense, I would probably try to address it. But I actually admire Randall to a certain extent of just being like, no, we're just going to be on one accord and see how that sort of through line plays itself out.
Sure.
Because I feel like I question probably a little bit more. Here's a crazy thing. Working with my wife scares me sometimes. It scares me sometimes because we like approach life in a very different way with very different energy, and they don't always sort of flow like hand in glove.
Yeah.
The podcast is a perfect way in which our energies do complement each other.
The hit podcast, we don't always agree.
Because we get a chance to illuminate like our differing perspectives and how
Sure.
we wind up finding some sort of middle ground.
Yeah.
But like when she was on This Is Us, it was a very interesting feeling because she would be leaving set sometimes as I would be going to set sometimes. I was like, that works for us. Like that works great. I don't mean it
Did
in
she
a
acknowledge you when
shady
she
way.
was leaving? Did she even?
Oh yeah. We spoke.
Yeah,
and
she honked.
Everything was cool.
She waved.
Everything was totally cool. But so I actually admire Randall for like, you know what? This is something that we can do together. You know what I'm saying? And it takes me a little bit of time to figure out things that Ryan and I can work on together that I don't think would be detrimental to our union, but would actually be in service to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
That's real.
So
cool.
that's that. And so then Beth overhears that thing and she goes like, you know, out of all the stupendous ideas that I've had, like how many of them did you really think were great and how many of them were just basically because you throwing me a bone? And he doesn't say anything.
because he was stumped.
But he takes too long and she's like, that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, listen, it was such a hard thing to stand inside of because Sterling loves Sue the way Randall loves Beth. I was like, I was trying to do
Yeah.
right by you, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And she's like, I don't need that.
Is this something that you and Taylor ever talk about, navigate when it comes to music? Because music can be so subjective. Like, no, I think this is great. I don't. Or has that ever happened?
Like in terms of something that we've worked on together.
yeah,
he's
like
worked
you're
on
like
a-
writing a song and you're like, I don't really like the way this is going, or maybe he does. Like, yeah. And how does that play out?
She gets her way.
I get my way.
You gonna make this song the way I want it.
Well, if it's just not feeling right, then it's something that's abandoned or maybe like picked back up and reworked or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get my way. He's there in service. He's there to help me.
Come on, Aries.
But in all fairness, he is. So it's like
Yes.
he's just sort of like, okay, well, we don't need to do something if it's not
What
feeling.
about
Not feeling it.
vice versa when it's like he is working on tracks for his records as far as like feedback and stuff goes?
Oh, well, I'm his biggest fan, so I'm never going to come at him and be like,
Sure.
it could be
Maybe that bass line
better.
could be a little.
I
Yeah,
don't mean-
totally.
You know what I mean? I just didn't know if it's music especially is such
is
a
so
ethereal like
So
yeah,
personal too.
person.
Yeah.
You're asking the question, but the same would apply to you.
Yeah.
Like, how do you and Rach?
We don't get along.
Got it.
No, actually, this was what we talked about in couples therapy last night. Is that we both have two very different styles at approaching any
That's
project.
what I'm talking. Okay.
And so, like, there was never a more obvious differentiation between the two of us than when we were both asked to host a charity gala
Yeah.
together.
Oh boy.
And they gave us a script, and I said, "Great, I'll look at that on stage."
Yeah.
And Rachel wanted to run
Rehearse?
it and rehearse
Yep.
it and rehearse it and rehearse it and rehearse it because she had different anxieties around the process.
Sure.
And like, and she wanted to follow this script to the word. And I'm
Right.
like, it's not going to happen.
We do 87%.
We do 87%. I'm like, it's not going to happen. Like, it's just, that's not the way I
Roll.
do this.
Yeah.
And it was like a real, like, it was so ironic too, to be there for a charity and to have like these two people like kind of battling it out for how this is supposed to go versus how, hey, let's have some fun. Let's raise some money.
We get similar marriages.
And so it's like, we were talking about it last night in our session where it was like, so we need to kind of like be a little more flexible in those mindset. We're trying to teach our son that. Yeah. Like it's literal 4-year-old toddler stuff that gets locked in your brain, and you're like, can we teach a toddler how to be a little flexible around his idea of how things should go, and then go, oh, maybe I need to do a little bit more of that too, and maybe you do too. Yeah. And maybe if we can all do this, then yeah.
Okay. We have similar marriages. What about you? You and Nicole seem like you kind of just like.
Yeah, you're very locked in.
And this is me on the outside looking in.
Where was Nicole when the turkey was attacking?
She was
laughing.
Probably no. She might have been in like Petaluma or Santa Cruz.
Okay,
or
having a nice time.
She's always traveling. Her job takes her all over the country now. But
feel free to debunk or sort of agree. Like you guys seem like it feels easy.
It does feel easy actually. I think that we both, respect each other's individuality.
Sure.
And know that we approach things differently.
Yeah.
And have learned also through couples therapy in the past and have learned to give each other, a little more, like give and take a little bit more.
Sure.
Like, she's going to understand how, how I approach certain things that we might do together, plan together, work together. I mean, her company is doing so well, and I support her. I think that what we see in each other is that, there's so much support for what we kind of do, and we're such big fans of each other.
Yeah.
And I think if something that she's doing is not kind of the way I would do it, I'm such a big fan of hers for everything else she does in life, especially the way she treats me.
We'll just see how it goes.
Do it your way, and I'm cool. And I'll just, if something's really bothering me, I'll swallow it, and I'll just, say, that's going to come out really hard and bad in a couple of months. I'm kidding. Just screaming. No. But and that does happen every once in a while. But
okay.
But like but it is like you have to I feel like sometimes you have to just it's a give and take. You have to sometimes just give.
I hear you.
And so I give her space, and she's not an artist, so we don't really interact.
You don't,
you don't have
in those
to...
waves. So it's like with music, with both you guys being actors, with you guys hosting stuff together, and also Rachel being a musician as well. Like Nicole doesn't really do that. We
she stays in her lane.
Stay in your lane. Let me do my thing.
I stay in mine.
I love it.
And we also one of the things I would say about us, because of her job and now us having kind of two different places and me working. I mean, the longest we were separated was like 5 months when I was working on a show in Africa.
Okay, yeah.
So we've always looked at like that separation as somewhat of a good thing. We never like it, but when we see each other, that I love that buildup of excitement after we've been apart to come together, and so we never really give each other an opportunity to have like that real contention over our approach to whatever we're doing. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I don't care that you didn't did you left your clothes all over the fucking floor. I don't care.
I don't care.
Right.
We haven't seen each other for 3 weeks.
Do you see how much I'm not even caring?
I'm not caring
about all the clothes
right now.
I don't care so much. I won't even bring it up on a podcast. That's how much I don't care.
I love this. That's a bit it kind of puts things in perspective. You're like, I haven't seen you for 5 months. This thing doesn't matter as much as us being in each other's presence.
Exactly.
Right. I got you. All right, continue. We let's talk a little bit about Toby at the house.
Yeah. Toby's been kind of pulled out of his depressive slump.
Yes.
Or is coming out of it.
Sure.
Yes.
has been and Kate and Toby are tasked with preparing a meal for the whole
traditional
whole
Slightly
Thanksgiving
stressful.
event. Slightly stressful. We find out things like the cranberry sauce is. What do you mean? This is a bag of cranberries. This isn't.
Where's the can?
Where's the can?
No.
This is how I make cranberry sauce.
How many ingredients were there?
There was like 27 ingredients.
Including fresh mint from the garden.
Randall
garden?
has an herb garden?
Randall has an herb garden.
Fuck yeah.
And this was a great fun day for she and I in the kitchen.
Yes.
Of like shooting.
Yeah.
But also, whenever you're dealing with food on set, there's a whole new team that comes in.
Yes.
Right?
Food style.
They're great.
The food stylists.
Yes.
They are great.
They are great.
99% of the time.
Oh, Lord.
They are fantastic.
What happened?
But in order to present a ruined turkey
Yeah.
on the set, they just ruined a turkey.
It
by
just
which,
smelled like turkey
by
milk.
which I mean they blowtorched and smashed a raw turkey
That's just food waste, guys.
and brought it on set, and it smelled like napalm death on set.
Wow.
It was like,
It just felt like singed, burned flesh.
yeah. It was the most bizarre smell.
Ew.
Ew.
That Chrissy was having an extra hard time with.
Was she doing the like?
Yeah, it was one
Gag
of those moments
reflex
you're like,
thing?
are we serious? You're serious? Okay. So yeah, it was a
And
really
action.
It was a really good day.
I want to this my favorite scene in this episode is you're about to take. Are you taking her soup?
I'm taking her some soup.
You're
taking Tess some
Tess-
soup.
Oh, God.
Because she's not
She's
feeling
not
well.
feeling great. So she didn't come with us to the food thing.
And I come up the stairs with the soup.
You think she just got a little cold?
Yeah, and
little
she
runny
comes
nose.
out of the bathroom with her feminine hygiene product.
She got pads in one hand and like
Trying to
Tampons
figure
in the
out.
other.
tampons in
She
the
don't know
other.
which one
Yeah.
is the right choice.
You had Trey, and she looks out, comes out of the bathroom. She's like, ah, and you're like, oh, and it's just go down the steps, bruh.
With the tray of soup.
I was like, first of all, it is a deft bit of physical comedy. Anything in the bowl or not?
Oh yeah.
So this is.
First of all, how dare you?
I apologize. I apologize because this is the way we do it sometimes. If you think there's fear of spilling or something like that, like you sometimes just mime the idea that there's something inside. Not Sully.
I wanted 10% spillage. I wanted a little splash.
He had
if I could
doubles and
get it.
triples of his
I had
costume.
a-
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
I
were
was
ready. Triples of his costume.
Yeah.
Put it to the rim.
Yeah.
Empty bowl. Get out of here.
I want it hot, too.
It was
Hot.
such
Piping hot.
a great
steam.
moment because Eris was perfect in the moment.
Yeah.
It
Like
was
she was
great.
like, it was just sheer terror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like the first person
Yeah.
who sees me holding feminine
my uncle.
products is my uncle. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, this isn't supposed to be this way.
Yeah.
Right.
You go back downstairs, it's like, yeah, I think Tess might need you.
I think
I like it. I like the
Tess has a
playoff.
question
Yeah.
for you.
It's
Yeah.
like,
playing
that's
it all
it.
along.
That's a lady.
Yeah. No. She's just. You might want to check on her.
Ah,
Well, thank you, sir. I had forgotten about that moment, and when I saw it, I was particularly proud
it's
of
great.
Yeah. It's a
Because
good.
I believe Toby's response is, what?
Yeah. What?
What?
Because it's just Tess screaming.
Oh, God. It was a sheer magic.
I forgot about the
It
what.
was
what,
so
what.
good.
So you go downstairs, you enlist your wife's assistance.
Yeah.
And she goes up, and she's like, I'll try to handle it. I'm not necessarily sure if she will be able to handle it or not. That's one of the things. And she tells this wonderful story
Yeah.
about when her cycle begins.
Yeah.
And this guy.
His
Yes,
son.
it's your son.
My son.
Andy.
It's your.
Andy.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's Andy. And he goes something like, did you,
Already a dick.
Yeah.
Already.
What does he say?
Teenage
Like, did you pee on yourself or something like that?
Did you pee to bed?
Did you pee to bed?
Pearson?
Yeah.
And instead of like sort of retreating, she's like, no, I just began my period. Like, you know what I'm
I
saying?
need a tampon. Do
you have one?
Boom.
And he had probably a similar reaction to.
Yeah.
Can you
Totally
also
did.
see young Beth young Kate? You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh
kind
my
of
God,
wish.
yeah.
I kind of wish they'd shot it.
They had actually
Yeah.
shot that
Yeah,
moment just so
yeah.
you could see her,
Yeah,
see Hannah
sure.
play that thing out. And it was such a wonderful bonding moment. It's like, you're going to be able to deal with these things, and this is your first this, and then your boy will have your first kiss or whatever with him, and she's like, or with her.
Yeah.
Oh, because
Or
there's no
girl.
response. First boy have first kiss, and
Right.
Yeah.
Or girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yes, or girlfriend.
Boyfriend.
Or girlfriend. And she's like, yeah, or girlfriend. And it's
Such good This Is Us writing.
Yeah.
Because you think you're getting one scene. You're like,
Yes.
oh, this
and
scene.
then you
Yeah.
get
I know this scene.
And then
Right.
you get
The becoming a
some
woman
new
scene.
information.
yeah.
In 2 lines.
Yeah. It was
Oh.
It was a couple of things too, because as Kate goes on talking, like, you're gonna be able to tell your parents, like, they're gonna love you regardless, et cetera, et cetera. And it was I felt this as a TV parent. Weird thing. I was like, why didn't she tell her? I had that weird sort of feeling, and I think those coming out stories are oftentimes like, there's somebody that is easier to say it to first
Of course.
than mom or dad.
practice.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you get it out there first.
I think the idea is becoming so antiquated,
Yeah.
even since we shot that.
Yeah.
Of
You
like
mean of coming out,
having
or?
to express to your parents which gender you are sexually attracted to.
Yeah.
If you talk to a teenager in high school, is like a to a point.
I was about to
To a
say,
point.
we live in Southern California.
But what I mean is,
Yeah.
there are certain. I don't even necessarily mean regional. I mean across that generation. It is. When you think about it,
Yeah.
Think about. I never had to tell my parents.
That you were
straight.
hetero?
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was never a conversation they needed to be had.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
the idea that those conversations, not only people required them or that they were so traumatizing,
Yeah.
is becoming an antiquated idea.
You think so?
Yeah.
I still think that there is an assumption of cisgendered heteronormativity.
Oh, sure.
There is, but I think he's got a point. I think that
It's
a little
less
more,
of an issue.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a little more normalized with more, because even the generation before the generation that you're talking about now,
Yeah.
that I think that generation,
Yeah.
which is I don't even know the generations. I'm X, I think, and millennials are now having kids that are old enough to come out as teenagers, right?
Yeah.
So the millennials, they're a generation that I think started the normalization of being attracted to the same sex or being
Both sexes or
whatever. Yeah, exactly. Being
asexuality,
pan,
whatever it is.
And I think that I think it's a little less of an issue for.
A lot of time has passed since Ellen came out on her show.
A lot of time. Yeah.
To the fact that Billie Eilish states in an interview that she likes girls, or
Yeah.
that Miley Cyrus has identified I don't remember it's not even news. I don't even know what it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's not even news. The biggest pop stars
Exactly.
working today
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
express something about their sexuality, and people are like, oh,
So there's a spectrum
like-
of change.
Yes.
I think.
I would say that I have a yes and. I'm not going to disagree. I still I do think there is a regional sort of differences, right? You remember sort of the surprise that we felt in 2016 after the election?
Yeah.
Like it was like it didn't even occur to us in our minds or whatnot. And I still think that the country is sort of very split sometimes on things in which there's half of the country is like, why are we forcing a liberal agenda into things? And the other half of the country is like, well, this is what progress looks like, is acceptance of all people, how they show up, and just treating them with love, right? I still think that there are pockets of the country where this is not the easiest thing. And I say that
Oh,
because...
no, you're absolutely
Yeah,
right.
absolutely right.
I just
Yeah.
think in a more general context.
Right.
You're
Culturally.
right. I think this conversation is less of a big deal
I hear
now
what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
than
Right.
it was even in
For-
2018.
You may be right.
for 13 to 18-year-olds.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't mean like between them and their parents.
I hear
mean
you.
in their generation.
Yes.
Amongst themselves. Like when I talk to my friends' kids,
Right.
they're like, the fact that older people
Trip off of.
trip
Yeah,
off
that-
of this, first of
I
all,
hear you.
is creepy.
Yeah.
That you're
Right.
concerned about my sexual proclivities or
Sure,
whatever
sure,
it is.
sure.
It's
Yeah.
like really bizarre to them.
Yeah.
Right.
And it should be. It's weird
Yeah.
To have a fixation
to
on
have
yeah.
a fixation
Yeah.
on it.
Sure.
But amongst themselves, it just isn't the new
what it
flow.
is.
But
I hear what
you're
you're
not.
saying.
You're
Yeah.
totally not wrong though. But to sort of end this, the Thanksgiving dinner has been ruined, destroyed
Yeah.
by Toby.
by the food designers.
Yes.
Right.
Kate has been upstairs with Tess having this conversation. Meanwhile, the kitchen has sort of been, I don't know,
Devolved.
destroyed.
Yeah.
And then
It's devolved into
it is Popeyes, yeah?
Yeah.
some Jack Pearson level magic.
Jack Pearson level magic. And again, Amari Michael Ryan, Christian Brown sings in the background, love that chicken from Popeye. Like he's like, doesn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, oh, Popeye's got good biscuits. I was like, yeah, man.
They do that.
Yeah. Toby fixed the situation
Yeah.
Yeah.
by just acquiring some fast food to
sure.
sort of make up for the ruined meal.
Yeah.
Which, let's face it, if I turned up to somebody's Thanksgiving dinner and it was a table of plated Popeyes, that would be the greatest
It would
Thanksgiving
not-
I would love it.
Yeah,
I'd be-
I
I'd
would
be
not be
totally
mad
happy.
at it either.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, so we're at the table.
How
This
did,
is a good one.
Randall feel about it? I want to know.
Randall's cool. I think Randall had bigger fish to fry because his wife did give him the side eye
True,
at
true.
the table.
Yeah.
So you could tell that things weren't quite right.
yeah,
the
there were
beginning
words
of
to
a
be
Randall was like, I
had.
better eat this chicken.
Yeah.
Things weren't- you know what I'm saying? Let me just keep my mouth shut from now on.
These biscuits are good.
We got a chance to see Zoe and Kevin zooming in from Vietnam because they were still there.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most beautiful moments of it is Annie getting up from the
Oh,
table
yes.
as Rebecca and Miguel come into the house and Grandpa. And you talk about
Yeah.
somebody needing a hug.
Yeah.
And needing to hear that specifically.
You know what I'm saying? Feeling a
Yeah.
part of. And I think in terms of Thanksgiving, it's a really interesting through line because on our first Thanksgiving, there's like, can I wear the hat?
Yeah.
Sort of thing coming from Miguel and Kevin being
Yeah.
like, who you think you
And here
is?
we are
Yeah.
with
And here
To
we
think
are.
about the
His
perspective, because
grandchildren
your
running up.
children have never known.
They've never known Jack as a
Anything
grandpa.
else.
This is
Right.
the only person
Miguel
they've known
is
as
grandpa.
grandpa. You know? And it was such a beautiful moment.
Yeah, I wrote that down too. It really just like tugged at my heart. I was like, yes,
was.
Miguel earned this. He deserves this.
And then, Faith being who she is.
The most
Oh,
adorable
the cutest
young
thing.
child
There's
in
no
the history.
acting. She
Yeah.
just makes me smile.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
saying that word, just looking at me,
Yeah.
running at me.
Yeah.
2 other Thanksgivings to get to,
There's
guys.
2 other
Oh
Thanksgivings.
my God.
Yeah, I know.
You want to do William and Jesse real
Let's
quick?
do William and Jesse.
Yeah, woman just.
This is their meet cute, guys.
They meet cute. William's playing on the piano, what have you.
At a meeting.
At a meeting, Jesse comes up and they just sort of strike up this lovely rapport. But what I thought was really great is that when they actually go to hang out and they're grabbing a bite to eat, Jesse starts to sort of give him the boilerplate version of sort of what led him to NA, et cetera. And William tells him like, yeah, I've heard the story
Yeah.
before.
Tell me,
yeah,
tell me
right.
the true story.
Right? Like, tell me
I love that
the truth of it, right? And Jesse is sort of like,
All right, someone can see through it.
somebody can see through, the
I was
facade.
really hoping he was going to drop the British accent.
I know. I was like, is Dennis going to drop the British accent right now?
I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah.
But he's just talking about like his
Yeah.
addiction to cocaine and how it just sort of became
Oh, yeah.
all encompassing or what have you.
I like the way he said, I love cocaine.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
He did.
He did.
Love
He did.
cocaine.
Yeah.
It didn't say loved,
No.
which I
Love.
thought was a
Yeah.
He did,
interesting
didn't
because
he?
he's
Yeah.
an addict. Once an addict, always an addict.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I love cocaine.
And there is, I don't want to miss anything in this thing because it's,
Well, he said this is kind of the beginning of the
courtship?
the courtship, but also
Yeah.
the reveal that William
is bisexual.
is at the very
Right.
least bisexual.
Right.
Right.
Well, we knew this back in
Did we?
the first season because Jesse was a part of
right.
That's right.
Christmas
That's right.
and
There's a moment when it was
before
when,
he actually
yeah.
passes away.
Oh, so good point. Because Tess is the person that points out to her dad in the Christmas episode. He's like, I think he likes boys and girls. And Randall has a like, what's that now?
Yeah.
Like sort of moment. But
Yeah.
I just love that the idea that Tess is the person who clocked it.
She has gaydar.
Interesting. I had forgotten
Has
about
gaydar.
that. That's right.
There we go.
That's
There we go.
It's a small thing, but I
Yeah.
just think that it's an
But the
interesting
way-
thing.
the
Well,
way
a
that
young
the-
person can
Yeah.
And more intuitive.
see the
'cause
truth.
Yeah.
And the way Jesse expresses it to William about my wife and I were a complicated mismatch.
Right.
And then they go to this meal and he says something about relax, she's my
Cousin. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because they're at he
William was like,
invites him to
"I'm
the
cool."
to the jam session, right? And like William's on the piano and everybody's jamming. It's a good time. And he looks over his shoulder and he sees Jesse talking to a very pretty woman. And he's like, oh, okay, let me just go ahead and do this thing. And that's where the, you know, relax, she's my cousin part
that's
comes
right,
in.
that's right.
But I do like his reaction. I'm cool.
Yeah. That's Ron.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
It's like whatever.
Yeah.
'Cause
Whatever's clever, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We can get down how you need to. So that's that. Then there's Vietnam.
There's Vietnam.
Oh, here's a question.
Go ahead.
Did we know that Griffin was gonna play Jack's brother
That's
before
a
this episode?
really good question.
I don't think so. Why?
Because what Michael was doing,
Yeah.
it was like that. Like it was Griffin nailed it.
Yeah.
I think
mean,
the
maybe
answer is no. Like, did Michael know that Griffin
They also
Dunn was
look
coming
like
to
each other.
play
Like,
him?
he looks like a younger
Yeah.
Griffin Dunn in that moment.
Shout out to
so-
casting.
Yeah,
Shout
shout
out
out
to
to casting.
casting.
Shout out. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, so the platoon, Jack taking it all in, goes to Nikki. Nikki's having mad
Yeah, he's
attitude
just
and his withdrawal.
resentful about having been moved
Yeah.
from his
Oh, yeah.
squad.
Yeah.
From where he was fine.
Totally.
It's Thanksgiving. Jack has made sure that the guys have turkey.
They've flown in turkey.
Yeah, they've flown in turkey.
Yeah, he's writing to Robinson, who, went back home after he lost his leg.
And Nikki he's been tasked with fixing the barbed wire,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Jack points out that one of the women in the village, her little boy, got his foot caught on the wire and got
Right.
all cut up.
Yeah.
And he decides that he wants to go and sort of like address that, right?
Yeah.
Like take care of the little boy, look at the wound.
Yeah.
And he has Nikki come with him and like basically gives him an order to
Yeah.
clean and dress the wound because Nikki was a medic.
medic,
yeah.
That's sort of his job before he was Article 15.
They also talk about, like, at the dinner table at the Thanksgiving dinner, one of the other medics says, somebody asked, like, what's the deal with your brother? And this brother says, like, medics see a lot. Like, we scoop
they put the guts back inside of the thing,
into
yeah.
people's bodies, et cetera. Like, while you guys go off and do the next thing, we're cleaning. So he's talking about just the trauma of what it means to be a medic in
Wartime,
in
yeah.
wartime.
Seeing the aftermath of
Yeah.
what the VC are doing
Yeah,
to fellow Americans, fellow brothers
Right.
That you're serving with.
Right.
And how that would affect him differently
Totally.
than the shooters at
Totally.
the front. Yeah.
And so when Jack asks him, so we've seen this little boy a couple of times and his mom, and Jack will go to help with carry water or something. And then I think what I would assume is her dad is like, stay away. Just leave us alone.
Yeah, back up
right.
off.
Every time that Jack tries to sort of insert himself, the dad sort of gets a little vociferous in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually he goes in and he asks, like, can I see your son? Foot is infected, cut wide open or whatnot. And so he gets Nikki to come help. And he's like, this little boy is going to grow up and try to kill me. I'm not going to help him. And and Jack's like, it's a boy. And it sort of like goes to that age-old thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you could go back and kill young Adolf, would you do it? And it's like, he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
Like, there's still innocence. There's still
Right.
a possible opportunity. But then the question is, but if you know, would you? And like, if from Nikki's perspective, he's like, I know who the little boy's going to be. I'm not doing it. And so Jack ultimately winds up sort of like pouring, alcohol on it to try to disinfect it and just handle it himself. And then he goes and has this conversation with his brother, like, what is up, man? It's a little boy.
This is a village of women and children and
Yeah,
old
and
men.
old men. Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about?
And then he tells him that story.
Go. So who has the best?
Yeah, I mean, doesn't he says to Jack, where he was stationed before, like there was his captain who he loved, Bones,
Yes.
right?
Bones. Yep.
He
Took care of everybody.
Yeah, took care of everybody, and then and was taking care of this woman, right?
Old woman, yeah.
Old woman, and somebody came and threw basically an explosive and blew Bones away, and it was
Yeah.
the old woman's brother. The
Right.
old woman had told her brother where to find
Yeah,
the captain.
he was
Right.
VC.
And if you cut the head of the snake off, then the rest of them are going to be. you know.
Yeah.
And so, and Nikki's like, there's my point exactly. And I thought that was interesting, him telling that story about the old woman. And I can only imagine that Nikki seeing the old man always saying, stay away from my
Right,
daughter,
right.
stay away from my grandson, that Nikki sees in that old man the capability of
Right.
what the capability that he could say to
Yeah.
someone, blow
They're
these
not
guys up.
just old men.
Exactly, not just old
women
men,
and children.
and also and making a point that kid will also grow up to despise us.
Yeah.
You see a little bit of it in an episode before with Jack just saying like, "You're a good guy or you're a bad guy." Bow. Right? Like,
Right.
and you think like the ambiguity of that war in particular, of just trying to figure out who are you here for and who are you here against, and it not being clearly delineated at any point or given time, and just
And
go.
why does the U.S. think why do you think what's best for us is your intervention,
Yeah.
and
Your-
your
up to
democracy,
your jurisdiction,
Yeah, what is better?
yeah.
Why do you think? Why do you think what you think is better for our people than what
Right.
our own people think that are Because I think there are a lot of South Vietnamese that were conflicted even in that war. That the U.S. is even there, destroying our villages, our country, our
People.
And the way that war was fought was different from anything we'd encountered before or since.
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
But the campaign in any war, to dehumanize the people that you were up against,
Right.
is a type of self-inflicted mental warfare that we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
And that the other side, I mean, whoever we are
Against.
at war with is doing the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy to kill another person.
No. Another
But if you-
person.
So you've got to dehumanize.
But if
them.
you
There
can
you go.
dehumanize,
and that comes from the top.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
you
right.
are trained
That's
to
right.
dehumanize.
Then
an
you can
enemy.
do quote unquote your job.
Right. Like also just narratively, like on behalf of Nikki, sort of illuminating that perspective, because I think we as an audience are conditioned to believe Jack is always right. He just sort of says like, look, bruh, you see it this way.
Yeah.
I've had an experience
Yeah.
that allows me to see the world in a different way.
Yeah.
So you can stick to yours, but don't try to force your thing
Yeah.
on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
And
You know.
and this story basically ends with the mother being grateful for Jack helping her boy, and she gifts him her necklace.
Right.
Which is the origin story of this necklace, which answers the question for the audience.
Yeah.
Where did the necklace come
Where
from?
did the
Right.
necklace come from?
Who is this woman? It's like, well, this is exactly who this woman was.
Yeah.
Right.
And that moment was just captured. It was a random moment captured. It's not like they were particularly close.
Right.
Right.
But she gifted him the necklace, which he then gifts Kevin.
Yeah, because in the episode before, didn't we see? Is it this episode or the episode that
Episode
opens
before,
with the
we-
woman
Seeing
making
the origin
the
of
jewelry?
yes, exactly.
Yeah, and then we see like it's all in like all over the place. Kev finds
every market.
That they're
Like-
not special. They
Right.
were mass produced.
Right.
They were, yeah.
That they're everywhere, but that one was special because
Sure.
of who
'Cause
gave it to him and
his
under
dad
the
gave it to him, yeah.
circumstances.
But not as special as Kevin suspected it
sure,
was.
Yes.
exactly.
Right.
It's a good episode.
Good
It's
episode.
Very full, lots going on. Like everything's moving forward in the future.
Yeah.
Just sort of an understanding of Miguel and Rebecca's relationship.
Jon Huertas delivering one of the
Yeah,
pivotal monologues in the
absolutely.
series.
It's the beginning of tension between between Beth and Randall.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we know that Tess has come out to her aunt. It's nice to see Toby in a healthy enough space to be able to handle a stressful situation. It's stressful, but it is being handled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everything feels so full.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, when you
Agreed.
watch the show, like there's not a lot of fat on the bone.
It's literally this
Yeah,
like
this was not a filler episode.
7, 8, 9, 10 feels like the beginning of a new movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though we're halfway through season 3, which we're at the halfway point.
We're at the halfway
Yeah.
point.
We are at
Right.
we
Yeah.
are smack in the
dab
middle,
Yeah.
That's
Smack
it.
dab.
of,
Yeah, man.
of the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels good. Guys, should we thank our guest host, Mr. Huertas, for joining us?
Thank you,
Oh,
John.
thank you.
Come back
Thanks for
all
having
the
us.
time.
Oh, yeah,
Please.
please.
No, there's
We
not
love-
a big enough couch because if we have another person on this,
Be like this. There's
all wrapped
there's a lot
up,
going
like,
on
hey.
over here, Jack. Let me put that there just in case.
okay, I'm wearing double underwear today. I'm good. I don't need an iPad.
Please be watching this on YouTube, guys. Please.
John, will you look right over there and give us a That Was Us?
That was us.
Guys, it's time for our favorite segment, our fan segment. And as we are digging through our emails from listeners, we came across one about the music that's featured in the 6 Thanksgivings episode.
The music in the show has been something that we talk about a lot on this podcast, and it's amazing how certain songs can hit so deeply and bring up so many emotions.
This email comes from Tracy in Ohio, who reached out to share what song in particular really moved her.
All right, this is her email. I just finished watching the second episode of That Was Us, and I loved the conversation with Dan Fogelman. I enjoyed hearing about the writers and their process because This Is Us had such phenomenal storytelling. I had one question that I wish you would have touched on with Dan. Who would oversee the music selection for the show? I always loved how well music was paired with moments on the show, and I wanted to know how music was chosen.
I vividly remember the events of my day when the season 3 episode 6 Thanksgivings aired. I remember being incredibly overwhelmed by the day and anxious about what was to come in the following days. That night, as I watched your show, the song 42 by Mumford & Sons played at the end of the episode. There was just something about the storyline of that episode, that song, and the events of my day that left me inconsolable that evening. It was as if that song and your show gave me permission to just let it all out. To this day, when I hear that song, I am transported back to that evening and the emotions that came with the day.
There are so many moments from your show when I thought, oh my God, that is the perfect song. But that one in particular will always be significant for me. Thank you to everyone who helped bring This Is Us to life. I don't think we will ever see something so magical again. With sincere appreciation, Tracy from Ohio.
I love that.
Thanks, Tracy from Ohio.
It is, I mean,
We
like,
agree.
who, like, so Dan picks a lot.
He does.
There's a music supervisor who oversees the procurement and placement of all the songs.
Yeah.
But in our case, the creator of our show has a deep, deep love for music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he had probably a bigger hand in music selection.
Than most
Yeah.
creators or showrunners do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Dan sometimes would write specific scenes with songs in mind, with music in mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's this episode too that is it the first John Prine song that shows up in this episode?
I think you're right. Yeah.
John Prine, being my favorite musician of all time, was a fan of the show and reached out to the show and asked if he could put a song on the show.
Get out of here.
And it's the Vietnam song, and it's his most famous song, "Angel from Montgomery." But it was the modern day elderly version of himself
Singing it,
re-recording the song, which I had not heard.
I hadn't heard that either.
Until our episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was constantly moved. I mean, some of the songs from our show are in Bear's nighttime playlist. Like, the music on this show is incredible.
very good.
Yeah. Between the score and then the musical selections, it really was another character on the show.
Should we do a live show somewhere in a theater where we play a bunch of music?
God, I would love that.
You guys, if you do it, I'll play the piano.
No.
Like
No,
Randall.
you'll have
You
to
can
sing.
sing Brian Tyree Henry's song.
I was going to say he could sing, "Do you know the price of porn?"
Do it. Yeah. And
Or
that,
whatever.
and that one.
I listen.
Yeah.
Because I'm a team player. Whatever you guys need from me, however I can be of support,
Yeah.
that's what I'll do.
All right,
I
you're
love
going to
it.
do both of those songs.
Metaphorically, I will
to
be
back.
playing the tambourine.
That's right.
Metaphorically.
That's right.
But I got your back.
All right, cool.
Is that the end of this episode?
That's
You
it.
sing that song.
Guys,
We love you guys.
thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.
Not that one.
Oh, not that one? The other one.
Please
I'll
tell
work
your
on it.
friends, spread the word about this podcast because
Yeah.
we love doing it. We want more.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the reason
We want more earballs.
The reason we can provide it for free is because you support our sponsors.
Yes.
And our sponsors support us. So the more you patronize these businesses, buy a gift, buy something for yourself, the longer we can keep
And
providing
they're all
this
things
for free.
that we approve of
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
we use.
We
Yeah.
put a thumbs up or thumbs down on anything they present
Correct.
us
They
with.
are a part of our life. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about them.
Not
so
doing a
there
lot
you
of
go.
malt liquor. No, it's not. That's not the jam.
Our stamp of approval.
Right. Yeah.
In
So
any
anyway,
case, thank you. And we will see you on the next
see
episode.
you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.
That Was Us is filmed at Rabbit Grin Studios and produced by Rabbit Grin Productions. Music by Taylor Goldsmith and Griffin Goldsmith.
Da 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 dum, da da dum. That was us.